Okay, everybody, today we are going to be looking at lesson 4.2 in our Go Math materials. We will be starting on page number, if I can see here, 239, I think it is. Let me see, hold on, sorry guys. Anyway, so we're working on lesson 4.2, which does start on page 239. One thing I am going to tell you is as we work through these, please make sure that you are doing the lessons as they are assigned. Don't wait till the last second to do them or you will fall behind, okay? All right, so starting on page 239, it says investigate at the top, and I just drew all over this paper with my marker on accident. Okay, here we go. So we are looking at multiplying decimals and whole numbers, okay? So this is a little bit different than what we've been doing. But it's going to be fine. We're going to get through this. So at the top where it says investigate, giant tortoises move very slowly. If you've ever seen a giant tortoise, don't worry, they will not chase you. They are very, very slow. I promise you'll be able to outrun them. They can travel a distance of about 0.17 miles in 1 hour. That is not very far, guys. That's a very short distance in an hour. How far could a giant tortoise move if it travels at the same speed for 4 hours? Okay, so we're going to look at part A, and we're going to complete the statement to describe the problem. So I need to find how many total miles are in 4 groups, because there's 4 hours that we're talking about. 4 groups of 0.17. Now, in yesterday's lesson, I told you that magic word of means something in math. Anytime you see the word of in math, you are going to automatically, because Miss Van Etten's telling you this right now, you're going to automatically think of multiplication. I promise you, it'll make your life a million times easier, okay? Part B says, the second part to part A says to write an expression to represent the problem. Now, an expression is something that it's a problem that you write that has an operation sign. In this case, we're using multiplication, but it does not have an equal sign. So we are not solving it. It does not say to solve our expression. It just says to write our expression. Okay, so an expression for this would be 4 times 0.17. Okay, so that's 4 hours times 0.17, which is the distance. Okay. Now we're going to look at a model, and I do like the model. And we're going to see here kind of a visual way or a visual representation of this. So part B says to use the decimal model to find the answer. So the first part of that, what does each small square in the decimal model represent? Well, in this decimal model, each of those little tiny squares inside there represent 1/100th. 1/100th. Okay? Because it's only 1 out of 100 squares. You can write that as 1 over 100. And the decimal version of that is 0.01. Just like that. Okay, and I do want you to write all 3 of them. Part C says to shade a group of blank squares to represent the distance a giant tortoise can move in 1 hour. So if we look back up at the top, it said that they travel a distance of about 0.17 miles in 1 hour. Okay, so we're going to shade a group of 17 squares to represent the distance a giant tortoise can move in 1 hour. So I'm going to use blue because that's going to be easiest for me. And I'm going to shade in 17 of these squares. Do not judge me for my beautiful art skills, okay? I guess I should say lack of beautiful art skills, because it's not going to be beautiful and it doesn't have to be. This is math, not art class, right? All right, here we go. So I shaded in 17 squares. Now it says to use a different color to shade each additional. If you don't have a different color, you can continue to use your pencil. Just don't press down as hard. Make it a little lighter so you can kind of tell, okay? So it says use a different color to shade each additional group of 17 squares. Let's fill this in until you have 4 groups of 17, just like we wrote up at the top. 4 groups of 17. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to use red, and I'm going to shade in 17 more squares. So I know that one of these long pieces is 10, plus those 3 more is 13, so I need 4 on this side, 14. So that's a group of 17. And then we're going to do it again, but I'm going to use blue, so I'm going to alternate colors here. 6, 18, and one more makes 17. I'm going to use red again. That's 8, and 9 more makes 17. So we've now created 4 groups of 17 in our model. Okay? Now what that tells me is if I took all those squares and I counted them, all the ones that are shaded in with the color, then I would have 68 squares. Okay? And I'm going to prove it to you in just a second. First of all, if you want to pause this video and you want to count those squares because you don't believe me, go for it. But I'm going to prove it right now. So I have 17 that I shaded in at a time, and I did that 4 times, which is the same as 17 times 4. 4 times 7 is 28. Carry the 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. 68. Bam, told you. All right, so the giant tortoise can move 0.68 miles in 4 hours. Okay? All right, we are going to look at page number 241. So we're skipping page 240. Okay, so page 241. Let me get there really quick. We're skipping this page and we're going to this page. Okay, and we're going to do this. If I can get my pen working here. There we go. All right, we're going to do this and we're going to be using some models, okay? So we're going to look at 2 and 3 first, I think. Number 1, I don't want to look at yet. We might come back to it. Okay, so it says use the decimal model to find the product. Product. I want you to underline that word there. Product is a great vocabulary word in math. Okay, product, anytime you hear that in math, you're thinking of multiplication because the product is an answer to a multiplication problem. Okay, now we're going to look at 2. It says 2 times 0.38. First thing I want you to look at is the decimal point. So we have 0.38. And what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like that decimal point does not exist for a minute. And we're going to look at just the digits. So we have a 38, which is 38. So I'm going to color in 38 squares, and I'm going to use blue. So go ahead and color 38 squares in. Okay, that's 30. Pretend it's beautiful. Okay. And then I got to color in 8 more from this one. Yoink. Let's see here. There we go. So I've colored in 38 squares. Okay. Now I have to tell myself, okay, I've colored in 38 squares 1 time, but this time it's telling me to do it 2 times because of this number 2. So we have to color in another 38 squares. So I'll use green this time. So I've got 2 here. If I color in 3 rows, that gives me 32. 33, 34, 35. What's that? Did I do too many? 1, 2, 3. No, that was perfect. Okay. So I've now colored in 38 squares twice. Now what I would do is I'd count up those squares. I can count them one by one. Or I know in one column I have 10. So I could do count by 10. I could skip count by 10. So I have, let me use red here to do that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 76. And I put my decimal point in front. If you don't believe me, you can go ahead and count those squares individually. Or you can take 38 times 2. 2 times 8 is 16, carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7, 76. Miss V doesn't lie to you. All right. Pretty easy stuff, but we are going to look at number 3, just because I think it's going to be beneficial for us to do that. And then we are going to look at 4 and 5, and I'm going to give you a couple of pointers for those ones. Okay, number 3, we have 4 times 0.24, okay? So that's our problem. We're finding the product, which is the answer to a multiplication problem. First thing I'm going to do is look at my decimal point, and I'm going to pretend like the decimal doesn't exist. So that would give me 24. So I'm going to shade in 24 squares on my model to start. 24 would look something like that, right? And I'm going to do that 4 times because of that 4. Okay, I'm going to use alternating colors so I can see better. That's 6. Sorry. That's 16. So I need 8 more here. Too much. Hold on. See, this is why we use a pencil, so we can erase our mistakes. Not too much, though, like I just did. Erase our mistakes. And I'm going to do it 2 more times using blue. It's 22 right there. And 1 more time. 18. All right. So that's 24 4 times. Now I can count the squares and I can see my answer, or I can count by tens because I know there's 10 squares in each column. The beautiful part about this one is we know there's 100 squares in this whole thing, and we only have 4 that aren't shaded. So it's 100 take away 4, well, that's 96. So we know that our answer is going to be 96. And we put our decimal point smack dab in the middle, or in the front, sorry, not in the middle. Don't listen to that. Smack dab in the front. Okay, if you want to prove it, we can take 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9, 96. Okay. On 4 and 5, it says to find the product, draw a quick picture. We're not going to draw a quick picture. We're just going to find the product. And the reason why is because I'm going to teach you a trick if you don't like the model. Okay, this is a second strategy to use, okay? Because I know parents, you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, Common Core math, this isn't how we did it before. I hear that every day of my life. But that's okay because some of us are visual learners, okay? So here we go. Let's look at number 4 first. I'll just use my black pen here. So it says to find the product, and that's what we're going to focus on. We're not worried about draw a quick picture, okay? So we always, always, always put our decimal point on top. So we have 0.62 that we're multiplying, but I literally said 0.62 and wrote 0.63, guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, 0.62, multiplied by 3. And we're going to pretend like the decimal point doesn't exist for a second. We're just going to multiply like we normally would. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18, carry the 1. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 more is 1. Now, with multiplication, you cannot bring your decimal point straight down. Do not do that. It will mess your answer up. What you do is you look at where your decimal point is and you go, okay, they moved it 1, 2, so I'm going to move it 1, 2. So our answer is 1.86. Okay? And we can do number 5, which is going to be exactly the same. We'll put our decimal point on top, 0.32 multiplied by 4. Pretend our decimal point doesn't exist. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1. 4 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 more is 1. Whoops. What am I doing here? 1. There we go. Sorry. And then we see that they moved it 1, 2. So we take our decimal point and we go 1, 2, decimal point. 1.28. Okay. Now we're going to go to our practice and homework page. We're going to work through the problems that I tell you to circle. Well, we're not going to. You're going to work through the problems I tell you to circle. Then you're going to go and you're going to fill out your Google form and you're going to submit your homework answers to me. Remember, do it now. Don't wait till later to do it, guys. You're already sitting in front of your computer watching this video. So do it now so that you can get it done, okay? You're going to submit those homework problems to me. That tells me that you watched my video and you did the work, okay? All right, here we go. And I forgot to hit markup. Hold on. All right, your homework starts on page 243, and you are going to do problems number, I'm going to use red to circle them today. You're going to do number 2. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Do not worry about the draw a quick picture part. Just do the product, find the product. So you're doing 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Okay, then on page number, sorry, hold on, let me get to the second page here. Page number 244, you are going to do problems number 3. I love 3. That's such a good problem. Let's see. I want you to do 3 and 5. Okay. So on page 243, you are working on 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Then on page 244, you are working on 3 and 5. Once you do those problems on your Go Math material, in your Go Math materials that were given to you, then you're going to go fill out your Google form. Have a great day.